Hey there folks, Rel here. Here's your quick weekly update for Sunday, January 12th, 2014. Well, I say quick, but this is probably going to be a little bit longer than usual. So first things first, I think that one of the suggestions that was made in the 6 Ideas for a Better New Player Experience video is actually getting implemented into PlanetSide 2. Not in full, but pretty dang close. At the end of that video, I suggested giving people starting loadouts, and basically that perform specific roles instead of just having a single bare bones, kind of an all-around class loadout. And what SOE is doing sometime in February is giving all classes 2 loadouts with different weapons, so example being a sniper infiltrator and a close range infiltrator. You know, they're fitted with different weapons as well as a rank 1 suit slot. And regardless of whose idea it was, you know, whether they saw the video and said, yeah, you know, that's really cool, I want to do that, or if they just had it in the back of their minds to begin with, it's awesome. It's a great step in the right direction to benefiting the new player experience, and I applaud the devs for making that a priority. But if you're curious about the details, which go well beyond what I mentioned, there's a link in the description below for you. Secondly, I was on another player panel alongside Atreon, Itzmurda, Cardinalka, and Scourge of the Server on Friday Night Ops 54, and we were talking about progression in PlanetSide 2. Basically going over the current progression system and its strengths and its weaknesses, as well as providing alternative forms of progression and some ideas on how we'd like things to be moving forward. I think it was a really fun episode with a lot of good insights from very different backgrounds as far as what we've accomplished in the game and where we spend the majority of our time as players. I was also on the PlanetSide 2 Reachcast, which is a weekly podcast, very well done by Torx, Derringer, and Nox. They do a really good job with this thing, though Nox was on the mend for this episode, so he wasn't actually there for it. But basically, I was a guest, and we were talking about some of the community happenings at the time, like changes to the subscription model, air-to-air lock-ons, the best and worst moments in PlanetSide 2 for 2013, and I even reveal a little bit about where I come from and why I wear a bandana, and other shenanigans and whatevers and what have yous. But it was a very fun podcast. I suggest checking it out. There are links in the description below for all of this stuff if you're interested. On Tuesday, I think, I released a cinematic for PlanetSide 2 called All to Dust. And I really don't do cinematic videos, not very often, but Maggie let me use the Observer Cam last weekend, and I had been able to gather a bunch of footage, and this is one of the videos that is coming out using some of that footage. If there's one thing that people tend to complain about All to Dust is the music that I used, and personally I thought that the Middle Eastern vibes fit Indar very well, and that's what the video was all about. So hopefully you'll enjoy that one as much as I enjoyed putting it together, you know, if you haven't had a chance to watch it yet. Lastly, just yesterday, we released a new player walkthrough, and this thing is like 18 minutes long, very extensive. I've received a lot of good feedback about it so far, and it's geared specifically toward a new player, either those who don't even play the game yet or those who have just started playing the game and they haven't really wrapped their head around everything yet. So if you yourself have some friends that you're like trying to convince to play PlanetSide 2, or friends that have been turned off by the game's complexity in the past, you know, maybe you can show them this guide, this walkthrough, and maybe they'll be able to get a better sense of what's going on, and then hopefully be a part of the PlanetSide 2 community. Coming up, you guys should see a review for the NS-15M, which is the Nanite Systems machine gun, and also the Zealot Overdrive engine, both of which I basically have all the footage for. I'm just kind of caught in the middle of script writing. I know that a lot of people want that Zoe review, but I was really excited to put out the new player walkthrough after I kind of had the idea for it. So I basically turned my attention completely to that, like laser focus, and I ended up spending a good 16 hours or so knocking that out over the course of a few days. So yeah. The last thing that I want to talk about is donations, and anytime money enters a conversation, you get a lot of mixed reactions. People tend to get very touchy whenever you bring it up, like money is a bad word or something, and I don't really know the psychology behind it. Maybe it has something to do with giving something to someone that you will eventually have a need for, thereby losing the ability to use it yourself. And anytime you take something away from someone, you're going to get a strong negative reaction. I really have no idea, but either way though, if you saw the video yesterday, I'm at a point in my life where I either A, need to go back to work, which I don't have a problem with, or B, I need some support from all of you. And the difference between the two is that if you go with option A, I won't have a lot of time to create videos, at least not as much time as I'd like. But if you do go with option B, then I get a lot of time to create videos for you guys, you know, kind of expand on the PlanetSide 2 community, and this is something I obviously enjoy doing. So basically what it boils down to, as a subscriber, you are choosing where I will be investing the majority of my time in the near future. And the channel is not large enough to support itself yet purely on ad revenue, which is fine, and I hate advertisements to begin with, so hopefully with enough contributions we can just get rid of them altogether. And I am a very patient person either way, so I know that the channel will eventually get large enough to support itself. It's just going to take longer. Life is basically giving me a detour at this point that if I take it, it's going to take me even longer than it would have been to get where I'm going. And to address the common responses that come up whenever I say that I want to be successful on YouTube, people usually say that I should play other games, you know, I should diversify my content. And that is a very difficult thing to do. And there's more to it than just adding new games to the channel and then playing them. For one, I have to know and understand those games well enough that I can talk about them. And if I were to just jump into to Battlefield 4, I would really have no idea what I'm talking about for at least a few months. And that brings me to my second point, which is competition. PlanetSide 2 does not have a lot of competition when it comes to doing content on this game. And I dug into PlanetSide 2 knowing that there was both a lot of content that I can review, knowing that the game was going to be updated often and for the next 10 years, and also knowing that there was a huge lack of content about the game in the first place. That's why I picked PlanetSide 2, on top of it being very fun to play and fun to talk about. If I were to jump into a game like Battlefield 4, I would have Matimio, I would have Level Cap, and whoever else is in the genre to compete with. People that not only have a massive audience, but they also have years of experience playing the Battlefield series. So the double-edged sword is that even though there isn't a lot of competition in PlanetSide 2, the audience is also not very large, comparatively. And I think that it'll get there thanks to the performance updates, and when metagame is finally introduced, and when the game goes to PS4, there's going to be plenty more people than are currently playing this game. And I am starting to feel the effects of this already. Most importantly though, is that I don't want to diversify my content yet because I don't want to alienate my audience. When you subscribe to a channel, you're basically entering an informal agreement with that commentator. You're saying, you know, I know what your channel is about, I like what you're doing, I'm really interested in seeing more, but if I completely flip script and just start doing other things, there's a sense of betrayal that a lot of players feel, especially for a channel that has been primarily PlanetSide 2 for so long. And I actually felt this a little bit when I shifted from Mass Effect to PlanetSide 2. So it's a tough situation to deal with beyond what seems to make sense on the surface. I mean, that's the reason why I have a secondary channel to begin with. It's specifically dedicated to Let's Play content because it simply does not fit on this channel. But long story short, and that definitely was pretty long, is that if you visit patreon.com/rel, I'm asking for support from my subscribers. If I get enough traction, I won't have to settle down with a job, which means that I'll not only be able to keep producing content, but I'll also be producing more content at potentially higher quality. So it's your choice. If you're willing to donate monthly and it's within your financial means, so you know, you're not going out of your way to spend money on some guy that just talks about PlanetSide 2. You know, if you value my contributions to the community, that's extremely helpful. And it could just be $1, $2, it doesn't really matter. In fact, I actually set up reward brackets that can hopefully offer you guys something beyond just the normal content that I put out. I want to give you early, ad-free access to certain videos, as well as shoutouts on the weekly update, depending on the reward bracket. But if you're interested in any of that, again, patreon.com/rel, any and all donations are extremely appreciated. Also, a handful of people have been asking about being able to make one-time donations because they didn't want to go through Patreon, which is monthly. I didn't have the ability to do that previously, but I just set up a PayPal account specifically so that you can do that if you are interested. So if you want to donate a one-time amount, you can send that to rel@relplays.com. And that's my PayPal email account. I think that works. And tell me if it doesn't. I just set it up, so hopefully it does work. The very last thing that I want to touch on is that a lot of people have actually been saying that, oh, you know, SOE should pay you for what you do and that sort of thing. And the problem with that is that I enjoy what I'm doing. So SEO basically has me by the balls because they know that I want to make videos for all of you. That's basically free advertising for their game, And if you've ever done something like purchase a weapon with station cash after I put up a review about it, that's free money that they're getting, right? So even if I stop doing content on PlanetSide 2 altogether, it might hurt SOE's potential profits a little bit, but in the grand scheme of things, I doubt that they'll even notice that I'm gone. But even so, it probably wouldn't hurt to ask the question, and I'm kind of wary about even saying this because I know how zealous you guys can get, but if you want to send Smedley, John Smedley, a tweet about possibly sponsoring the channel, I've written a short, respectful inquiry that you can tweet him in the description below. And basically it would just be, at @J_Smedley. I really enjoy @Welp plays PS2 content, but he needs support to keep it going. Would SOE be willing to help? And if enough interest is generated, I mean, he might look into it, and that's kind of the best that I can hope for. But for the love of all that is holy, do not harass this poor guy beyond that. He's got a lot more pressing issues to deal with than some lowly YouTuber. And that said, the support that I've already received from you guys is amazing. You're all fantastic. I don't think that there is any other gaming community out there that keeps such a level head, is genuinely helpful to help one another. And I'm not even sure that there's another YouTuber out there that gets less rage and less troll comments than I do here. So thanks again. It's been a little over a year now, and it's been a whole lot of fun all the way through. So in the background, you'll see a bonus reel for this week, as well as the names of those players who are donating more than $8 to support the channel. So thanks to them, and thanks to everyone who's donated, everyone who can't donate and wants to, everybody who doesn't want to donate and just wants to watch the channel and wants me to be quiet. So thanks very much, folks. We're all signing off.